Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, Eddie Hearn mentioned something about Canelo Alvarez, which I found very interesting, which I thought would make for a good video. Eddie Hearn basically said that Canelo Alvarez is so full of confidence. Before I get into it, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video. Appreciate all your support, all that good stuff. Basically, Eddie Hearn has said that Canelo Alvarez is so full of confidence right now. Is so full of confidence, he feels he's unbeatable. He feels that he could beat Anthony Joshua right now. And now a lot of people would laugh at that. A lot of people would say, you know what? That's nonsense. But when you get into a mindset, when you get into a habit, when you get onto a roll, you feel you're unbeatable. You feel you could go in that ring and you could conquer anybody because your confidence is so high. It's sport. When you're performing at a very high level and you're continuing to dominate and look brilliant, you become so confident that you feel you could beat anybody. Canelo right now could feel that he could go in there with a you know, a bear and beat a bear, because that's the confidence he's oozing right now. Because Canelo's so confident with his abilities, and his form is so sky high that he feels he can do anything. That's what people say, that form, don't mess with form. Make use of your purple patch. And Canelo's doing that. Canelo's just a quality fighter. It's not so much form. He's prepared for every fight. And boxing's different to other sports, like team sports, like football, for example. Some strikers, they're on form and they feel like every shot they take is going to go into the back of the net. Boxing's a little bit different, because boxing is a lot about preparation. It's about your fighting abilities, how much you improve your skills. But Canelo right now is what I call a complete fighter. He's got it all. I don't think he would fear anybody right now, because he's that confident in his abilities. And I actually think Canelo probably does feel he could beat Anthony Joshua. He probably does feel. Whether he could actually do it, that's another thing, because Joshua's massive. But Joshua, let's talk about Joshua. Joshua right now is the complete opposite to Canelo. Joshua's going in the ring doubting himself. He's thinking, oh, I don't want to get hit. You know, he's doubting his abilities. Because firstly, Joshua isn't as complete a fighter as Canelo Alvarez, different level of fighters. And he's also, in my opinion, not as mentally as strong. But most importantly, his form isn't as good, because when Joshua was fighting early on, he looked unstoppable. He looked like a monster. But then he took a loss, and then everything just changed. Because that can happen. This is why, this is not just boxing, this is all different sports. When your form dips, all of a sudden you feel like you can't even score a tap-in. You start missing tap-ins. You can't even, you know, pass a ball straight. That, honestly, that's form. Your confidence drops and you feel like, I can't even do this. I can't even play anymore. What's going on? Because your confidence is so low. When your confidence is high, you can feel like you can do anything. You feel like you can walk on water. And Canelo Alvarez is at this point in his career right now where he feels he could walk on water. He feels he can beat anybody. He's that confident in his own ability. But he's getting that confidence from his fighting skills. He's getting that confidence from his preparation. And he's getting that confidence from his performances inside the ring. That's what's giving Canelo Alvarez the confidence that he is a man mountain right now for any guy that steps in the ring with him. It's very hard to get into the place where Canelo Alvarez, especially for a boxer, is right now mentally. Mayweather was there. Pacquiao was there in his career. Very, very few fighters are able to get into a position where they're dominating, where they're fighting other world-class fighters and they're dominating, they're making it look easy. Canelo is in that place. I saw Pacquiao in that place. I saw Mayweather in that place. Now Canelo has got himself in his place where he feels like no matter who can get in the ring with him. And as Eddie Hearn pointed out, even if Joshua gets in the ring, even if Usyk gets in the ring, he'll beat them. Because that's where Canelo is at this point. Sometimes confidence can turn into overconfidence. And that, I've studied this. Sometimes confidence can turn into overconfidence. and you can start believing that you can start doing things that actually you can't. And then you end up it ends up backfiring horribly. So for example, if Canelo generally thought his confidence was, Canelo's smart though. He's not, yeah, he feels that he could beat Anthony Joshua, feels like he could beat anyone, but he's not going to do that because he knows that would be a crazy thing to do. And he's putting himself at risk. So Canelo won't do that. Right? So, because if Canelo goes up and fights Anthony Joshua and he gets battered, just say, and gets knocked out brutally, just say, right? All of a sudden, Canelo might not be the same fighter after that. Canelo may be a completely different man after that. So you've got to be smart. This is what I mean. Don't mess with form. You've got to be smart. The thing is, let me give you an example. Now, Amir isn't Canelo. Canelo's a much more complete fighter compared to Amir Khan. But Amir Khan was on a roll. He had a defeat against Danny Garcia. Then after that, Amir Khan was looking sensational. He beat Molina, beat Julio Diaz. Didn't look so good in the Diaz fight. Then he had 2 unbelievable performances against Devin Alexander and Louis Collazo. He absolutely obliterated both guys, outclassed them. Look, $1 million in that fight. Then fought Chris Algieri, didn't look good. Now, here's what Amir did. Amir was very dedicated, Alexander and Collazo. He was very dedicated. He was living the life. And he put in 2 of his best performances in his career. After the Mayweather fight didn't happen, Amir lost interest. He wasn't dedicating himself. And that resulted in him having a poor Algieri fight. Right? But still, his confidence was there because he ended up beating Algieri, even though he didn't look good, because he had that winning mentality about him. Then he moved up 2 weight classes, and fought Canelo Alvarez, which was a disaster. Because now you're messing around with your form. You've got your confidence back. After Danny Garcia defeat, you've managed to get your confidence back and you're back there. You're back as a contender in the welterweight division. You are ready to now win a welterweight world title. You are ready to beat the top guys at welterweight. And I believe Amir, the way he was fighting against Canelo, he could have beaten a lot of welterweights. I'm not saying all, he could have beaten a lot of welterweights that night. But what did Amir Khan do? He went up and fought Canelo Alvarez. That's called stupidity. That's called, Kell Brook did the same. Moved up and fought Gennady Golovkin. That's called silly. Because those are fights you're not going to win. And you're messing around with your form. You're messing around with your career. What happened to Kell Brook? Kell Brook was never the same guy. His eye socket smashed. What happened to Amir Khan? Amir got knocked out brutally. And after that, he was never a world level fighter after that again. After the Canelo defeat. He took 2 years out. And he was never the same man after that. So the point I'm trying to make to you is this. Is that, yes, when you're on form, make sure you work hard. And that's what Amir Khan didn't do. When he was on fire against Alexander and Collazo, unfortunately, Amir Khan didn't stay in the gym and didn't stay dedicated because the Mayweather fight didn't happen. So what that showed me is that his sole purpose was to get the Mayweather fight. That's why he was training hard. He wanted to look impressive so he could get the Mayweather fight. Rather than thinking about, I want to create my own legacy. Forget Mayweather. I want to create my own legacy, and didn't do that. Canelo Alvarez isn't focused on anyone because he's the man, in boxing. He's the one that people chase, not the other way around. But Canelo Alvarez right now is in a place where he feels he is unbeatable. He feels he'll beat everybody. But that doesn't mean Canelo's going to go and do something crazy. Because like I said to you, him, Eddie Reynoso, and I've said this before, they're very, very intelligent people. They're very, very intelligent boxing people. They're not going to do anything crazy. Look, Reynoso's already said that Canelo's not fighting Usyk. It's too big. It's too big a weight jump. Because they know they don't want to mess around with form. They don't want to mess around with Canelo taking a loss. Because that affects you mentally. When Canelo lost to Mayweather, he did well against Angulo, but I don't think Canelo was as confident as you see him now, because now Canelo's got back onto his winning streak. Prior to Mayweather, Canelo was looking sensational. Then a few fights, Canelo struggled a little, he looked good against Angulo, but Angulo was the perfect opponent for him after the loss. It was a perfectly matched opponent for Canelo, right? But there was self-doubt after that. And now Canelo's managed to get back onto a winning streak, and he's looking $1 million again, because that's what sport is about. Sport is about getting your mind in the right place. Getting your mind in the right place where you whenever you go inside that ring, you feel you're unbeatable. Because I tell you why. You won't be beaten. You won't be denied. And here's what I mean by that. We all know that Amir Khan didn't have the greatest chin in his career. But early on in his career, he got knocked out to Prescott. Then he got onto a roll. Then he fought a guy called Marcus El Chino Maidana, who a lot of people thought would knock Khan out. And Khan was boxing well, dropped him, and it was a great fight, back and forth war. Then Maidana hit him in the 10th round and wobbled him, staggered him, and he was all over the place. And people to this day say that Amir Khan's not got the greatest chin in the world. How did he manage to get through that? Because Amir Khan at that point was so stubborn, believed in himself so much, had the winning mentality about him. This is what a lot of people don't understand, the psychology of a sportsman. He had the winning mentality. If Amir Khan fought Maidana now, he would have no chance. If Maidana gets him to that position, Amir Khan would lose. Because he doesn't have that winning mentality. He doesn't have that confidence, that belief anymore. When Amir Khan gets into a ring now, he's not full of confidence. He's full of self-doubt. He's full of self-doubt. Because he doesn't know how good he is himself. Whereas when he fought Marcus Maidana, he felt he was the king of the world. Canelo right now feels he's the king of the world. And he feels he can take on and beat anyone. That's called mindset. Your mindset is everything. When you feel you could beat anyone, you're dangerous. And that's what I'm saying. The reason why Khan got through the Maidana fight, because he believed in himself. He believed he was a king. He was so determined at that point in his career. He believed he was the king, King Khan. He believed he was top. And that's what it is now, King Canelo. He feels he's the man. He feels that no one can touch him. No one can beat him. Mindset is everything in boxing. Mindset is everything in sport. Not just boxing, but sport. When you're on form, don't mess around with it. When you're on form, don't mess around with it. Train hard, work hard when you're on form. And that's what Canelo's doing. That's why Canelo's getting better and better and better. Because Canelo is not messing around with his form. He's not saying, let me go and sit down on a sofa and you know, do nothing. I'm champion of the world. I'm the undisputed. I'm the king. I'm this. I'm the face of boxing. No, he's working even harder. So he's not messing around with his form. So whenever he gets in the ring, he knows he's prepared. And then he knows he's a complete fighter. He feels, who's going to beat me? And that's why the thing that I've just explained in this video, this is why that you should never mess around with form. You should never take it easy. Unfortunately, a lot of fighters, Amir Khan is an example of a fighter who unfortunately did that. And that's why guys like Floyd Mayweather, guys like Manny Pacquiao, guys like Canelo Alvarez deserve a lot of respect, because regardless of what money they made, right? They didn't lose their hunger. Fighters like Amir Khan, who made a lot of money, who could have made Canelo type money if, you know, because he had a huge fan base, he was a huge name. But unfortunately, he didn't have the hunger that Canelo Alvarez had. He didn't dedicate himself to his craft like Canelo Alvarez did. And this is why Canelo Alvarez is what he is. This is why Canelo Alvarez is so good. Because of his dedication to the sport of boxing. Nothing else. His dedication, his work ethic, the amount of work he puts in. That's why he's King Canelo. See, a lot of people don't understand mindset about sport. Mindset is everything. The way you perceive yourself when you're performing is everything. Because if you have self-doubt like Anthony Joshua does right now, how can you succeed? Because you're scared. Oh, if I get hit on the chin, I might go over. Or if I start throwing a few punches, oh my God, I might run out of steam. You're doubting yourself. You're putting your mind under so much pressure. Your mind is, you know, stopping your body. Your body's freezing. Your body does, like, you're fighting scared. You're playing football scared. You can't do that. You're playing scared. You're playing with the fear. You're fighting with the fear. You can't fight with the fear. You're having self-doubt. That's never good. That's never good. That's only going to end in disaster. Because you're doubting yourself. You're doubting your ability. Canelo Alvarez is going in the ring. He's not doubting his ability. He knows he's going to go in there and he's going to batter guys. He's not doubting his ability. So even when he's under pressure, he knows that I'm going to come through it because he has that mindset. He has a winner's mindset. And mindset is everything in sport, guys. Honestly, mindset is everything. That Canelo right now has a winner's mindset. I'm telling you guys. He has a mindset, and in his head, he probably does believe he could beat Anthony Joshua. The fight's not going to happen, but he probably thinks he could. Because right now, he doesn't feel like he could be beaten because of his mindset. You know? And that's why, for me, mindset is everything in sport. That's my little segment on that. You leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Whether you agree with me, disagree with me. How important do you think mindset is in sport? Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.